Yes, we can. No, we can't. Kind of. I just realized I kind of sound like Obama there. Yes, we can. Oh. It is a beautiful, sunny weekend morning here in Chicago. My work phone has not blown up with Outlook notifications yet, so what better time to talk about everyone's favorite thing, my favorite thing, pulse check on whether or not I have a heart. The heart is on the left side. Maybe I don't have a heart anymore. Let's talk about relationships and friendships and bonds. So at par value, the bond. This video, I try to talk about relationships, human relationships between me and others, my thoughts on relationships and friendships and bonds. This might not be your experience. This is probably not your experience. These are just thoughts that I've had, especially recently during these unprecedented times. But holistically, as a human being living in this society, as an adult, post-college, you start thinking a lot about yourself, friendships you've had, friendships you're building, the community. Or maybe I'm just crazy. I lack these things, which causes me to overthink about them. Kind of like when you're hungry and all you think about is food. Maybe I'm lonely and the only friends I have are the 5,800-ish of you. Here we go. Once you become an adult, and especially now during quarantine, but just let's pretend like things are normal so that this video can get rewatched when the vaccine comes out or quarantine is over in the next 50 years. When you become an adult, finding new people, relationship, significant other or not, is pretty damn hard. There's no more community. There are communities. You have work, you got religious communities, you might be going to a grad school, but it's not the same anymore. There's no more coincidentally running into people that eventually leads to a directly, hey, let's go chill for a bit at that cafe in the library situation. It's a lot more coordinated than that, and especially during the times of quarantine, things have to be scheduled. And I largely see three buckets in which you can maintain / develop friendships or relationships. One, people you already know. So people from the hometown, people from college, people from high school, people you've already known, created the relationship, developed the relationship, and maintained them by occasionally replying to their Instagram story or sending them that, yo, I'm doing this cool thing, what are you doing, Snapchat? Category 1. Category 2 is a leech off of that category 1. It's people that you find out you know through the people you already know. And this category, I think, is the most fun and / interesting category. They already have the trust, the benefit of the doubt of getting filtered through your category 1, because hopefully the category 1 people you already like, you already know. So when they like these people, hopefully you like them through the transitive property of human beings. Category 2. And I think as you get older, category 2 becomes more apparent because people like connecting people to other people. People like hanging out in groups. I personally like hanging out more than one-on-one. There's just a funner dynamic. But bottom line, category 2, people you meet through people you already know. And then category 3 is this jumbo humbo of new communities that you infiltrate through moving somewhere and maybe joining a social club, finding people through your work, joining sports leagues, religious communities like churches, online social communities that you meet through video games, Reddit, YouTube platforms, new infiltration. So in summary, you got old infiltrated, infiltrated through the old infiltrated, and new infiltrated. Three broad categories that I view as ways to meet people when you're older. Brian, that's the same thing with everybody. You could say that about anyone from age 0 to 65. True, but I think especially during the 20 to 30 age where you're not yet settled, you don't have a family to focus on, but you're beyond the school life era where you just go to school and there's a community set up for you. You just have to play your part within the community. When you reach my age, and Jesus, I sound old when I say that, it's these three broad categories, these three buckets that you have to use to meet new people or maintain the old people. Now, this makes it sound a little easy because how hard is it to maintain people you already know? How hard is it to meet people through people you already know? And how hard is it to meet people for the first time, but through a community that you've infiltrated, a community that you likely belong to because of your interests, because of your job, because of what you share in common with them? How hard can it be? But I think people, as they enter their early 20s to their late 30s, start overthinking, much like I do. And there's a lot of thought around how much will I invest in this person and how much will that investment bring in return. Unfortunately, human dynamics in this world are very transactional subconsciously. I do believe, as a romantic, in love, I do believe in genuine friendships. But if we really break it down, it really comes down to what can I offer you in return for what you can offer me? That doesn't have to sound as cynical as it sounds, because that's all human relationship. Just because you're offering love or offering attention or offering care doesn't mean you're not offering, period. You're still offering that person that thing, and they're probably offering you something in return. Maybe that offering is less selfish than the offering that you envision offering or transaction to be, but it's still an offering. But as you enter our age and things aren't guaranteed, like the 4 years of school or the 16 years of school or the neighborhood that you're stagnant on because your parents both live in that neighborhood, there becomes a question of how long is this relationship slash bond slash friendship realistically gonna last, because people move around, especially in cities, are always in and out. We're literally amidst a mass exodus of cities currently, and no one stays in jobs for long anymore. People aren't sure whether or not the investment that they're making on people is permanent, temporary, tomorrow, next day, today. It could be gone in a second. And I think those things have to play a subconscious part in our brain, and maybe I'm just a calculative, terrible person, but I would like to think that people are more conscious of the future, and this has to play a part. When you enter this era, this age of life, you start wondering, am I investing this into this person, and is that investment gonna be worth it? Slash, am I gonna be at a loss? Slash, am I gonna be heartbroken because this person is probably treating this temporary, I'm treating this long term? What am I gonna do? A quick pause here for the teenagers watching this video, which I think probably is a very small amount because hopefully teens don't care about investment banking, as well as the folks in my age group or even older than me thinking, what is this guy saying? I love my friends. I don't think about any of these things when I make friends. This guy's crazy. He is obsessed with transactions because he's in banking. Stop talking. I think if this hasn't gotten to your head, don't let it get to your head. I think it's wonderful to live in the unknown, to live below the radar, to not think about these things, because once you start thinking about these things, there is no end. Also blame me alone in the city on a Sunday morning, probably not being productive, talking about relationships, friends, bonds, when I could probably be using this time to develop more friendships, relationships, and bonds. Bottom line, don't let this get to you. These are just my thoughts. Here's an analogy I like to use when I discuss this topic with my friends. I have friends, I promise. I think the first 18, 19, 20, 21 years of your life, you spend trying to get invited to people's weddings. Your goal is to please others, to make as many friends as possible, to get on as many wedding invite lists as possible. Because who doesn't like weddings? You want to be involved in their life. You want to be part of their audience. You want to be there for them on their most special day. I think post that, from 21 to 30, you curate your wedding list. Who is going to be on my wedding list? Who is my social circle? Who is my tight social circle? And I think in a very positive way, COVID enabled that. COVID provided this excuse, and I guess you could take this the very cynical way, but it gave you this ability to filter out people that you found to be toxic for a very long time. People that weren't necessarily close to you, but you had to keep close because they were running into you, or they were part of this larger, broad circle that you had to kind of invite, but you know that they don't want to be hanging out with you if they could be doing something else. They don't want to be hanging out with you if you could be doing something else. Bottom line, I think Corona, in a weird way, made people really prioritize what they want for real. And I think it's this curating your own wedding invite list idea that is really getting to people's heads and making them sit and realize, who did I actually want at my wedding versus who did I lie to myself about wanting at my wedding? I think those things are clashing right now, and I think it's good to have that reflection so that it's better for everybody, because frankly, these surface level relationships, surface level friendships that are maintained solely for the purposes of maintaining are a waste of your time, waste of their time, and you can only maintain so many relationships, so why not devote that time to people you actually want at your wedding and let them go to the weddings they want. Let you host your wedding with the people that you want. It's okay not to make everyone's wedding list, because you can only be at so many weddings. Relationships, bonds, and friendships also start to get a little hard as you get older, because different things matter for the way that you can hang out. Whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, unfortunately, things like background, class, income, where you live, the activities you like to do for fun slash the activities you can afford to do for fun start to slowly matter. Not everyone's gonna be able to go down to that boat cruise on Friday or afford the $60 martini drinks that you're about to have. One drink of martini is probably not $60, but you know my point. People aren't willing to take that 1 week vacation that's gonna take $1,500 to go to Hawaii because they're paying for their own things. People are at different stages of their life. Some people might be grad students while other people are making money at jobs. People might be prioritizing prioritizing different things. Some people might be married, other people are looking. People are at different stages rapidly as they leave the fork in the road known as college. I think once people leave school and things are less normalized or less evened out as the status of a student or focusing on similar things, people start having different priorities, and that unfortunately, and I guess fortunately, gets you to separate from friends that you might have thought were gonna last forever, and things change quickly. I don't think that's a bad thing. I almost think that if you look back at your life 6 months to a year and people around you either haven't literally changed, so people around you haven't gone in and out and you have a different set of friends, if that hasn't happened, or people around you haven't progressed themselves, then you need to start reflecting on yourself and think, did I progress much in the past 6 months, in the past year? I think the people around you are a great reflection of where you are in life, and if people around you haven't changed literally or intrinsically, then you are probably not changing / progressing. It's important to note, don't switch people just so that you feel like you're changing. That is an awful thing to do. But this is more of a byproduct where you take a step back and think, are the people around me getting better? Are they becoming better versions of themselves? Have I met new people that reflect better of who I am now? And if not, why is that the case? Directly contradicting what I just said, as I typically do in every single one of my videos, I do also think that if you are 23, 24, 25, and you have a friend that you've been friends with for 10 years, since elementary school, since middle school, and you still keep in touch, it's probably very unlikely, unless you guys fight about what actually happened in Tenet or something even more controversial, you guys are probably gonna remain friends. I think there's enough built up, there's probably a reason why you've kept up to this time, and unless something strikingly serious happens between the two of you, which I think probably already happened over the past course of 10 years and you've gotten over it, you guys are gonna be likely remaining as friends. That's something that I need to keep reminding myself. There's concerns over what if I lose this friend that I've been super close to, they know everything about me, I love them. I think it's very unlikely that someone that lasted that long, especially until now, will go away. They will be your friend. This point I think is probably me being hard on myself, and I struggle a lot with saying one thing and doing another, and I view that as hypocrisy, which I still think it's somewhat hypocritical, but the way that it relates to my point that I'm about to make, I think it's okay to have different friends for different things. You have your friends that you like talking politics with, you have your friends that you like talking to about girls, you have your friends that you like talking to about God, and you have your friends that you like talking to about investment banking. I don't think you should feel fake or think that any of those friend groups are ingenuous or lesser than the other because the topic at hand happens to feel more real or lesser than the other. There's food that you eat to go feel healthy. There's food that you get to feel bougie. There's food that you eat when you are having a crappy Saturday night and you just want dollar pizza from 7-Eleven. All those foods have different worth to you at different times, and I think it's okay to rely on different food at different times. Your friends are definitely worth more than food, and you're not paying for your friends, hopefully. Point being, I think it's okay to have different friends for different things, and not one friend has to have everything that you need, because that's very unrealistic. There isn't gonna be one solution to all your problems, and if anything, I think you should feel lucky that you do have different venues, different sounding boards for your variety of interests, for your variety of things that make you who you are, and the friends that cover that. This last point, kind of controversial, and I'm all over the place. I don't know how to word this so that I don't get canceled. But I also think it's quite interesting that as you get older, it almost seems like people are less bound to venture out into diversity. How do I put this? How do I say this clearly? I see, maybe this is just around me, but weirdly, people who hung out with people of different views, people of different skin color, people of different religious backgrounds in high school and middle school, and even maybe through college, as they become adults, they weirdly convene into who they identify the most with. And I think the diversity and the reach and the intermingling of such qualities lessens as you get older, which is weird because you would think that as you get older, you become more mature and you're able to get across those differences. But I guess the way that human beings are wired, or they're taught, or they just like becoming more comfortable as they get older, I see a lot of people around me that succumb to those things. And I'm not sure if that's a bad thing. People should be able to live the lives that they outlive, but I just think it's interesting that I see a lot of my friends who used to have a lot of diversity amongst their friend group fall back to who they're most alike as they get older. This is not a revelation. There's no solution for this, nor am I saying this is a problem. Just an interesting aspect of friendships / bonds that I've realized. Thanks for listening to my unending rant all over the place, clearly not organized. Just a lot of thoughts about relationships and friends and bonds. In the next video, I will come back with even more controversial topics, potentially focusing more on the relationship part, which I am clearly not an expert in. I should probably do a more banking focused video next before you guys get tired of me talking about things I'm unqualified to talk for. But I don't even know if I'm qualified to talk about banking. I'm not lonely. Thank you for almost 6,000 subscribers. See you guys in the next video.